Hey folks, Maine Prepper, welcome back. Today I want to talk about second threat out there, and these are not necessarily in order of priority or danger. Rather, they're just in order that I see them as being necessary to be introduced. So we talked about hunters in the last one, how the type of dangers they may pose to you. And when I give these talks, they're not meant to be comprehensive and cover everything, but rather they're to give you an idea of how you should approach the thinking about your defensive strategy. Once we identify prevalent threats, we're going to talk about how to harden the target, how to defend yourself against them. All right, the next level of threat is going to be gangs. Now gangs, by that I mean criminal gangs, I mean drug gangs in the city are going to be the number one. Drug gangs, some of the more notorious ones out there that we've all seen on TV, Crips, Bloods, MS-13, goodness, there's an endless list of them. And talking more about them than just generally people that are criminals or using drugs. These folks are organized, and that's the key element here that is going to make them such a threat. They are also armed. They are armed as a necessary feature for the type of business or criminal enterprise that they're in. Their biggest threat is from other gangs trying to rip them off or encroach on their territory and steal their customers. Now, there's also big-time biker gangs or outlaw motorcycles clubs, and they're even more dangerous, I think, than these gangs, including MS-13, because there's a couple of unique features about them, and I'm going to talk about that later on. And they usually tend to have better firepower. Everybody I've known that was actually an outlaw motorcycle club member, or I should say a club member of an outlaw motorcycle club, or a one percenter or a patch holder, every one of them that I ever knew, and I've known some of them, I've worked with them and been around them, and interesting folks, and some of them quite dangerous. And but what makes them extremely dangerous is the fact that they are, number one, very well armed, and number two, they're brave to the point of being crazy. I never met a one of them that, especially if the colors were on the line, or especially if club honor was on the line, would back down at all. Not at all. I mean, impressive, really. As a soldier, I look at that and go, wow, that's an impressive amount of loyalty you have towards your organization. And we try to instill that as a first sergeant. I try to instill that esprit de corps in my soldiers about their mission and about the U.S. Army and about our unit in general. Not to the point where they're going to go over and shoot somebody in another unit because they disagree on who's got the best PT scores, but the outlaw motorcycle clubs are a little bit more dangerous than the Crips, Bloods, and MS-13s, and that's saying a lot, all right, because those guys are no joke either. You don't want to mess with them. Okay. Now, these folks may be somewhat inept in the woods as an organization overall, but in the city, that's a completely different story. Don't look for that you're going to fire a few rounds and they're going to fade away. All right, especially not with the outlaws. Once the motorcycle guys come after you, the motorcycle club members or motorcycle gangs, if you want to, they don't call themselves that, by the way. If some of these hardcore guys come at you, and by the way, when I speak of these folks, I'm not talking about your weekend warriors. I'm not talking about those little phony tough guys that have Harleys and wear the little studded wristbands and all that. And when you get to talking to him, you find out he's like an investment banker or something during the week. But they get out there on their Harley on the weekend and they think that makes them tough. That's not it. They're not going to be a problem at all. They're going to be probably at home, hiding behind the couch, hoping nobody's coming to rob them. Talking about these guys that are, basically men of action. They're going to get out there and take action. They're going to take things into their own hands. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be organized. Don't look for pushovers. They're not going to go away. You're not going to, with your, 4 years of Army training in the infantry. That's good stuff. But you're not going to get out there and get your assault rifle or your semi-automatic rifle and start shooting at them and see them fade away. They may go away, but they'll just come back later because they'll go, wow, you've got an automatic weapon or you've got a semi-automatic weapon. And they're going to come and try to take that from you. And they're also going to figure you might have something worth taking, because if you got that much juice, you're probably hiding something. So when they do come, look for a no-nonsense frontal assault. I mean, they have learned, especially they've learned in prison if nothing else, is if you're going to do something, the element of surprise is an extremely valuable asset in any attack. And once you come, you just come full force and you get it over with quick. Many of their members are also former military on some level, so they're going to have some level of training. Therefore, your idea that, well, I've got this many years in the military and I've got a magazine-fed weapon may be a wash, especially if you're outnumbered 5, 6 to 1. Doesn't matter if you're in the defensive. They're coming at you from every different direction. And I'm going to tell you, frankly, having been in a firefight or two, people are hard to kill, all right? People are hard to kill. It's not like in TV where you put the weapon on your hip and you fire a few rounds and, you fire 3 rounds and 4 guys fall over dead. You can even hit people and they'll still keep fighting. Some people don't know they've been hit, all right? They don't hear the weapon because there's all these bullets going out and they don't realize they've been shot. People are hard to kill. They're just hard to kill. And they don't stand up and put their hands on their hips and dare you to shoot them either. They will hide behind cover, they will move, they will dodge. It's just hard, and if you're lucky, you'll wing one of them. There was a guy I knew that was a cop, and he got into an engagement, and he was at the range all the time, and man, this guy was dead eye. I mean, this guy had a tack driving 40 Smith & Wesson, and he would get out there and he could just flatten nail a dime, at 50 feet, just quick draw, bang. He was good shot on the range. He was laughing. He had a high capacity magazine, I think he had a 9mm, and he said, man, the first time I got into a shooting, I emptied the magazine into the guy, and I thought I hit him 15 times center mass, and he was only about 20 feet away. At the end of the day, we checked, and he said the guy ran away. And he said, I thought, okay, well, this guy obviously had on armor or something. But when they finally caught up with the guy, he'd been hit 1 time in the toe. So now this is a good guy that'll tell you that, because he's admitting that he missed. And quite frankly, that's common when you get a lot of adrenaline pumping through you and you get tunnel vision and the whole 9 yards. It's just a common thing to do. That's why you practice and practice and practice under stress as well as under just relaxed conditions on the range. And now we're starting to do a lot of stress-inducing exercises when we're at the range, and we're back there putting artificial stress on our students so that we can make sure that they have that extra training benefit. So when they do get into a real shootout, they do know how to react, and they do know how to shut that out. They do know how to block it out and control their breathing and such things. Anyway, the drug gangs are going to, or gangbangers, they're going to be similar to biker gangs, but they're going to focus a bit more on the cities, and they're going to be fighting over familiar turf, the neighborhoods that they live in. And they're going to be going around those neighborhoods first until they've sucked them dry and there's nothing left. And then out of desperation, they're going to filter over into the suburbs and into other neighborhoods. So you may be in a nice neighborhood today, but it's not, doesn't have a wall around it that'll keep people out of it most likely. And even if it does, somebody can breach the wall. When that happens, they're going to go after the low-lying fruit first, the obvious targets. So you want to keep a low profile. For instance, some Amish communities, I saw a report on TV, and they're being hit by some of these predator bandits. They're going around at night because they know the Amish don't have phones in their houses, and they know they're isolated and they're easy targets. So they're going to be looking for that sort of thing. They're going to be looking for the low-lying fruit. And most importantly, they're going to be looking for juice equals squeeze. That is, they're not going to come attack a house that doesn't have anything worth taking in it. They're going to go after easy targets first. So that means if you're in a wealthy neighborhood, they're coming for you first, and they're going to work their way down. All right, folks, this has been Maine Prepper. Come on back here. We're going to talk about, in the third one, the threat that's common to both.